Season 2 of Star Wars The Bad Batch is currently in progress, and while we have mixed feelings about the season as a whole so far, we've nonetheless been glad to see the Batch back in action. However, we've also seen the return of a pet peeve we had with the last season, that the commandos of the Bad Batch refuse to shoot to kill. Despite the fact that the Empire is out of their heads, and despite the fact that their fellow clones would never show them even a sliver of mercy, the Bad Batch insists on stunning their opponents, despite the fact that this has repeatedly caused setbacks in the last season. It's extremely foolish of them, and in this video, we'll be explaining exactly why.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
The core reason why the Bad Batch insists on using stun blasts probably has to do with the fact that most of their enemies are fellow clones. They've been shown to also insist on stunning TK troopers and recruited officers, but this can be passed off as a reflex or a matter of convenience. It's understandable, but you would think a team of elite commandos would better understand that the Empire is playing for keeps. They're soldiers on the front lines of a new war, whether they like it or not, and they should be acting like it. Again though, it's understandable why they're slow to confront that. The Bad Batch, like the rest of the galaxy, is war-weary after the end of the Clone Wars and isn't eager to get involved in the next conflagration right away, especially when the fight is now against former comrades. That's something we see with many other characters in this era as well. The end of Star Wars The Clone Wars also saw Ahsoka Tano be extremely reluctant to kill clones, despite the fact they were all out to kill her. She persisted in this even after Captain Rex attempted to talk sense into her. In the Bad Batch, we've seen these sorts of sentiments from the clones still loyal to the Empire. In a recent episode, Commander Cody seemed pretty war-weary as well, and he even attempted to make peace with the governor of a separatist holdout. Cody unsuccessfully tried to engineer a peaceful solution, and the governor was even willing to work with him until Cody's superiors ordered her execution. All of these examples stem from the same thing, a reluctance to fight the Empire. This is evident in different ways. With Cody, it's about not wanting to throw away what he had fought for in the Clone Wars, or perhaps admit the war was for nothing, while with the Bad Batch and Ahsoka, it's reluctance to kill clones they had once been friends with. In every case, it's an attempt to find middle ground, a peaceful solution, anything that would allow them to avoid the unpleasant truth that another war, ruthless and uncompromising, is now necessary. The thing about these pacifist-esque approaches to dealing with the Empire will never work. We saw that with the governor of Desix. Her attempt to make peace only got her killed. The Empire is a monstrosity that cannot be reasoned with. There's no middle ground, and there's nothing to be gained by playing nice with it. Either people fight back and play for keeps, or things will keep getting worse. As we said in Andor, there's only one way out. With the Galactic Empire, those attempting to seek middle ground always suffer the same fate as the Desix separatists. And those on the Empire's side that try to negotiate are disappeared if they don't desert first. The Empire was utterly unwilling to work with anyone. It only accepted total control. The ideology of the New Order held any competing authority to the Emperor as a threat, and because of this, there was no peace with the Empire, only an uneasy truce at best. Peace, after all, is anathema to empires. They require expansion and conflict to justify their existence. Those at the top of the imperial hierarchy understood this, and they would never allow their subordinates to break with the party line. Those subordinates aren't innocent either. The clones are victims of the Empire, but they're still active participants in its abuses, and until they desert, they're as much a part of the Empire as the likes of Admiral Rampart. Even well-meaning clones like Cody are still engaging in violence against the Empire's enemies, and they're not exempt from responsibility for that just because they're the Empire's slaves, or because they were just following orders. The clones are all responsible for their participation in building up the Empire, and importantly, those still serving the Empire are all legitimate targets. For the Bad Batch especially, fighting the Empire is self-defense, and they have every right to kill the Empire's enforcers, clones or no. Beyond that, they can be said to have an obligation to kill the Empire's enforcers. Those clone stormtroopers they stun are gonna wake up, and most of them are gonna just go back to doing evil stormtrooper things. We saw this pretty clearly in the last season when an Imperial officer that the Bad Batch stunned woke up and immediately went back to hunting them, nearly succeeding in killing them and the Separatist governor they were trying to protect. In the first 2 episodes of the new season, Echo was pretty vocal about how he felt that the Bad Batch wasn't doing enough to fight back against the Empire. They could get a good head start on changing that just by flicking a switch on their blasters. There isn't too much they can do against the Empire as it stands, but lowering the number of Imperials in the galaxy always helps, at least a little, and they haven't even been doing that. It would certainly accomplish more than what they've done so far. Now, we get that it would be hard for the Bad Batch to kill clones, the clones being their brethren and all. But let's not forget that we're talking about an elite commando team. They exist to kill. In the past, we've theorized that this might be why they insist on using stun blasts in the first place, as a sort of quiet rebellion against their creators. They were made to kill, and therefore they chose not to. But at the same time, if ordinary people can steel themselves enough to pick up a blaster and burn holes through some imps, then we think some of the Clone Wars' deadliest commandos could do the same. After all, even if you think that the clones deserve more mercy than we're giving them credit for, that still doesn't help in a firefight. When someone's shooting at the Bad Batch, they don't have any sort of moral high ground if they don't respond in kind. They've just weakened themselves. Nor, really, are they proving anything about choosing a different path in life. They've already chosen a different path by rebelling against the Empire, after all, and deliberately doing it less effectively is a softer statement, not a stronger one. The Bad Batch would do well to learn from Cassian Andor, or they would if his story wasn't 14 years after theirs. Andor usually does what needs to be done. He treats the rebellion against the Empire like the war it is. War is brutal by nature, and sometimes combatants need to make hard calls in pursuit of a greater goal. By the very nature of its existence, the Empire has forced this war, what will become the Galactic Civil War on the galaxy, and on the Bad Batch especially. The fight has already begun, and the choice that the Bad Batch has is whether or not they want to finish it. With all that said, we should give credit where credit is due. Omega earns points for not having a stun setting on her energy bow, and for not caring one bit. She and Wrecker seem to actually have their heads in the game, at least some of the time. Despite being the more innocent members of the Bad Batch, they apparently have a better grasp on how to best fight a war. To conclude, violence against the Empire is never the answer. Violence against the Empire is a question, and the answer is yes. But what do you think? Are you as exasperated as we are about this? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.